Hi guys, today we are going to talk about the different types of vendor transactions that you can have in QuickBooks Online. So we're here in our sample company, and the easiest way for me to show you all of our options is by clicking this plus new button. So underneath the vendors tabs, we have quite a few different options in terms of what type of transaction we want to record. So I'm going to explain the differences between these options today. So under vendors, the first option is an expense. And when we have an expense, this is something that we're going to pay right away. Okay, so it could be you going to an office supply store and making a purchase for paper. It could be you going to a specialty store and purchasing product for resale or some sort of supplies. But it's something where when you go and you purchase that particular item or that particular service, you are paying right away. Okay, so we're not doing something to where we go purchase an item or we purchase supplies and then we pay later. That would not be an expense. This is something where we are going and we are paying as soon as we purchase the product or the service. So that's an expense. A check is going to be very similar to an expense, but we're recording a check, right? So the reason expense and check is separate here is because we need to track our check numbers to make sure that all of our checks are clearing properly and we're accounting for all of the checks from our checkbook. A bill, on the other hand, is going to be we go and we purchase some sort of product or supplies or some sort of service, and we get that product or we get the supplies or we get that service and we don't pay for it right away. Okay, so we then have a bill. When we enter a bill into QuickBooks Online, this is then going to show in some of our reports that we owe that vendor money. Okay, pay bills is going to be where you go where, okay, we've entered this bill maybe a month ago, and now we're going to come pay that bill. This is where we go for that. We don't want to record that payment as an expense because we've already recorded the expense portion, right? A purchase order is something where we are going to issue a purchase order or a PO internally, and we're going to record that in QuickBooks. Now, a purchase order will later turn into a bill or an expense, but it's something to where we are approving the purchase of something. A vendor credit, this is going to happen when perhaps the vendor gives us a credit for something. Maybe we've purchased inventory and some of the inventory was damaged. And so the vendor says, you know what, you keep the inventory, we're just going to issue you a credit. Okay, so we would have the bill, we've paid the bill for, or potentially paid the bill for the inventory item that was damaged. The vendor's just going to credit our account. Now, a credit card credit is going to be when we have a refund on credit card. Okay, and then print checks is something where you can actually print checks through QuickBooks Online. So those are all the different transactions under vendors over here. I'll go through and explain each type in a little bit more detail in their own video, but that gives you an idea of what type of transaction you're going to want to select to record that vendor transaction.